this is Bruce Meller with Home Forge Remodeling. I'm here today to talk to you about a topic that comes up in renovation with clients of mine all the time. I've been in this business for 10 years, done hundreds and hundreds of renovations, and people always ask, where do I start? Should I start with an architect, should I start with a designer, or should I start with a contractor when I'm deciding what I'm going to do and how much I want to spend on it? And the answer is, it really depends on what you're putting together. If you're doing a kitchen or a bath renovation where it's fairly minor, you might move a wall or two, you probably don't need an architect. What you do need, though, is a designer. And it's good to understand what architects do versus what designers do versus what contractors do. Let's start with architects. Architects will work with you if you're doing a major renovation on your home. If you're going to change the exterior, if you're going to add a second floor or an addition off the back, it's a good idea to have an architect for two reasons. One is they understand space layout, they understand code, they understand how to make this addition look like it was always part of your home. The other reason is eventually you're going to need permits for that project and you'll need permittable drawings. So an architect can help you out in making sure you have the appropriate drawings. When it comes to the interior, once the walls are laid out, that's where the designer comes into play. And a designer really does two things. They do what's called space planning, which is if you look down on that room, and let's take a kitchen for example, they help you decide where the cabinets should go, where the appliances should go, where you're going to unload your groceries, how you cook, where you cook, what kinds of parties you have, and what that means to the layout of the room. That's space planning. Once that's done, then they work with you on what's called selection, which is picking all the really pretty stuff that goes in there. The countertops, the cabinet color, the cabinet style, the tile backsplash, lighting, everything. That's selection. So for most projects, it's good to have a designer, whether you've already done the architecture or whether you don't need that and you're just working on a one-room or two-room project. The contractor is the person, obviously, who does all the work and makes sure that they transform your house from where it is to where you want it to be. The key is really to get whomever you're going to work with all involved early. One thing to try to avoid is, and I see this a lot, people go out and they hire an architect or a designer. They spend months designing, they get the whole thing done, they get all the drawings, and then they present it to the contractor and find out that it's twice as expensive as what they had planned on spending. And it's really not fair to the homeowner because they didn't know what they were designing and what they were adding in terms of cost all through the process. What works better is when you bring the contractor and the designer or the architect in early and have them work together. So every time you make a change to the design, the contractor can say, here's what that would do to cost, and here are some ways where you can minimize that. A lot of times, changes that look minor are very expensive, and changes that look major are not. And that's the information that you'll get by working with a team rather than working with just one entity at a time. Once you go through that process, and it is an iterative process, you will still end up with a set of permittable drawings, whether it's done by the designer or whether it's done by the architect, but now you'll have a firm cost to go with that. You can go forward with confidence, knowing that you're getting what you want and you're paying what you thought you would be paying for it, and everybody is informed.